Hey everybody, it's Sino. I wanted to take a quick second before the video got started to thank you all for all the support that you've been showing me on my past few videos this week. As most of you know, I finished up my spring semester, I'm done with finals, I'm done with school for the summer, so I'm going to be uploading daily videos every day. That includes daily uploads of scary stories from Reddit, as well as movie reviews, starting with Baywatch and Pirates of the Caribbean tomorrow on Sunday. In this video, you will hear 4 true scary stories from Reddit about creepy encounters with kidnappers and abductors. As always, if you enjoyed the video and you like the stories, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Movie reviews for Pirates of the Caribbean and Baywatch come tomorrow on Sunday. Also, by popular demand, I'll be including a link in the video description for those of you who care to support the channel. Any amount you choose to donate is fine. All donations are taken through PayPal, so you know that you and your money are safe. We all know that YouTubers have been in a bit of a crunch the past few months, so any amount helps, but of course don't feel pressured to donate to this channel or to anyone else. No need to worry, unlike other channels, I won't be holding my content hostage. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, I hope you guys like the stories, and have fun. Thank you again for all of your support. My mom worked at a small store, and since we were young, we hung out there a lot with her. One night, there was an accident about a quarter of a mile down the road from the store. Me and my sister were outside watching all the lights from the cops and ambulances. We lived in a small town, so we really didn't see cops or anything often. A guy from out of state pulls in and notices how interested we are in the accident. Smiling, he approaches and says, "Hey, how are you two? You like those lights over there?" Me and my sister nodded eagerly. "Well, I've got to run into the store real quick, but when I come out, I can drive you over to it so you can get a closer look." Me being 4 at the time, thought this was a great idea, but my sister was a little older, and a red flag popped up in her head. He enters the store, and we follow. My mom is the cashier and sees that he is walking around the store, looking around as much as he can. Not at items, but at other people. He was looking for our mom, and didn't assume she was the cashier. He buys like 1 or 2 items, and as he is about to leave, me and my sister are running around to another part of the store, totally forgetting the accident and moving on to something else to keep our attention. He goes, Hey, where are you going? I thought we were gonna go out together." My mom instantly freaks, calls the police, and he flees. The whole time it was happening, I was totally oblivious, but after my mom freaked, I was really upset. All I really knew was that someone tried to take me from my mom, and I didn't really understand it, but it was pretty terrifying. For a while, I didn't talk to anyone I didn't already know. This happened when I was about 18 years old. I was big into running back then, and lived in a town that was a suburb, but had big swaths of farmland, as in smallish tomato and strawberry fields, not huge, never-ending wheat fields. I preferred running on the dirt at the edges of these fields, because it was a lot easier on my legs than running long distances on concrete or asphalt, and I was usually training for half marathons. 13.1 miles for those who aren't insane enough to think running is fun. This particular day, I was planning to run an easy 6 miles. I told my mom and she suggested I do a loop and meet them at the dog park about 3 miles from our house as my halfway point. This is pre-cell phone era, when all the craziest shit went down, but being careful, I took a walkie-talkie that my dad always used, and my mom took the other one. Now the walkie-talkie had a range longer than the ones my brothers and I played around with when we were younger, but it definitely did not work 3 miles away, and I honestly had no idea what its exact range was. I take off on my run. I'm planning to go to the sidewalk for a little bit until I get to the fields. I'm running in the dirt with the road a few yards to my left. I have to run south, and then turn right onto a slightly smaller, less traveled road to get to the dog park. As I'm running on the first dirt path, my parents drive by and, being dorks, they honk and wave and yell at me. I wave, and then soon after, I make my turn onto the smaller road. This one is road, me on flat dirt, small drainage ditch, forever of lettuce field. Then a wall that is the backyard of some houses. I start noticing how quiet the street is, and how few cars are passing me. Then I randomly start thinking to myself, if someone tried to do something, I could run to those houses. No, they're so far away, I'd never make it. Then, I hear a car, but this one doesn't pass me like all the others. I hear it slow down so that it's behind me, just out of my peripheral vision. My senses go super alert, and I immediately realize what a dumbass I was to pick this route because I'm stuck out here with no one to help me and nowhere to hide. The car starts speeding up enough so that it's next to me. I glance over and I see a man. Middle-aged, white, dark hair. Totally normal looking, but I get a chill down my spine immediately. He sort of leans over into the passenger seat and says in a super sweet voice, "Hi, where are you going? Do you need a ride?" I am scared and I realize this is not good. Admittedly, nothing has happened yet, and he could be totally innocent, just wanting to chat, but my intuition is in overdrive, telling me I'm not safe. I hop over the ditch, thinking at least that will make it harder for his car to follow me if I need to take off across the field to try and make it to those houses in the distance. This pisses him off. He guns it and gets closer to the ditch and in front of where I am, and then he says in a voice I can only describe as bone-chillingly evil, "You know, you shouldn't be out here all alone. Something horrible could happen to you out here and no one would ever know where to find you." He has put his car in park and is taking off his seatbelt when I remember the walkie-talkie. The piece of crap is all static, but I'm too far away, so I immediately turn down the volume and say loudly, "Hey Dad! Yeah, I see your car. I'm over here by this red Buick, do you see me?" And I fake wave to no one. There was no car coming from the direction my parents were, and when I had started talking, there was no one behind us either. But by the grace of the universe, at that exact moment, a car turned onto the road. The guy saw it, looked at me, and sped off so fast he left skid marks. I have never run faster in my life, and I was looking behind me every few seconds and thought he'd be waiting for me at every intersection I had to cross. I was shaking. I was so scared and relieved when I got to that goddamn dog park. I told my parents everything and my mom called the cops. They took a statement but said it would just help if something actually happened to someone else. The weird part was, I was having trouble getting my story out. I was so upset, and before I gave a description of the car, the cop asked, "Was it a red Buick?" He wouldn't tell us why, but that just added to my feeling that I had narrowly escaped something awful. First of all, let me say that I'm a 24-year-old male, and I live in Brazil, and we are kind of in a really bad situation. Basically, our healthcare, education, and security are garbage at the moment, because of corruption and corporate greed. Last month, after I left my workplace, I went to my bus stop. Everything was normal except that my bus was really late, but that's very common. I got another bus that gets me a little further from my home, and I have to walk a little bit to get to it. The bus arrives at my stop, and I proceed to walk to my place when a car speeds over the sidewalk with a guy inside holding a gun to my face. "Get the fuck inside the car," he shouted angrily. I was so scared I just dropped my headphones, as I'm always listening to music. So I proceed to get near the door and pick up my headphones at the same time. "Hurry, motherfucker, get in the car." He was getting very impatient. Suddenly, while I'm holding the door and trying to open it, I see a blind spot. He cannot see me clearly, so I run like it's the fucking devil behind me to the opposite direction of the car. I hear screeches and a gunshot. I bolt into the first house yard that I see. Luckily the gate was open, and when I have nowhere left to run, and I'm just surrounded by walls, I look behind and I see a man running after me. I fall to the floor, covering my head and eyes with my arms, thinking, this is it. I'm gonna get shot in the head. Nothing happens. I open my eyes, and the guy was just the random dude that was near me in the street who, like me, ran, scared of the car and the gunshot. There were 3 ladies in that house. They helped me get my head back together before I left a couple of minutes later to my place, safe at last. So, whoever you are, and whatever you were going to do to me, please, let's not meet. I am a female, currently 22, and this happened back in 2008 when I was 14. Just some backstory. I was living in a small town out in the middle of nowhere in Australia. It was sometime in December when this happened because I remember it being hot. The main street was about a 2-minute walk across an empty lot and about another 3 minutes to the small market, which was where I was going on this day. I left my house and walked across the lot, no problem. When I got out onto the main street, a white ute turned the corner and slowed down next to me. The guy driving just kept staring. At the time, I was not the kind to confront people, so I just kept my head down and kept walking until I reached the market. I went into the market and got what I needed to get. When I left, the ute was parked across the market, near the bank, and the person was sitting in the car and it was idling. It was about 7:30 in the morning. The bank didn't open until 10. At the time, there was no ATM at the bank. You had to actually go in and get money out, so it is not like he was getting money out. As I started to walk back, the guy spoke to me through his window. He asked several times if I wanted a lift home. I told him no several times. I started to panic since I hadn't yet crossed the road, which means I had to cross in front of his car in order to get home. There was no other way home. I tried to keep my cool and I started walking across the road when he finally said, "Get in." This felt like a command, not a question, so I started to run, as fast as I could, across the rest of the road and through the parking lot. I got home and inside before the white ute came speeding around the corner past my house. He didn't see where I went. I couldn't stop crying and I told my parents. They called the police and an officer came, but since he didn't threaten or physically try to abduct me, there was nothing that could be done. I know this isn't the scariest story, but it was scary to me. I honestly believe if I was dumb enough to get in the car, I wouldn't have been going home.